Hey guys, I'm so excited to be making this video. This is something that's been just exciting for me, having a very minimalist life. So when it came to baby items, there were quite a few things I found I didn't need, and maybe that'll encourage you as you're making decisions about which baby items to purchase or to get from friends or whatever that looks like for you.
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.
Let me share a couple of things beforehand. One, this is kind of a sister video. I have another one that goes through must-haves. And both of these are coming from a perspective that's sort of minimalistic. I don't have a ton of stuff and I love it. I wouldn't say I'm the hardcore version of minimalist where I literally have almost nothing except for the essentials. But I would say more common compared to most of the people that I interact with, I'm definitely more on the minimalist side. And so just keep in mind that that's the perspective that I'm coming from. This is not a master list if someone's looking for anything and everything you could possibly have that's wonderful and great. I will share as well something that I keep in mind as I'm thinking about purchasing items. When we think about kids and how we raise them, I've heard the line, don't sacrifice character for convenience. And so that might have to do with whether or not you put them in front of the TV in a certain moment. Is that just convenient for us as adults, but it's sacrificing character development for the child? We think about this a lot with kids, right? But I think as well, it gets true of us as adults, as moms, as we think about the stuff that we have. And sometimes we are choosing convenience and we are sacrificing our character. The biggest way that we do this is through stewardship. If we don't have the means for it, or maybe we do, but that's just not the best place for that money to be spent, then we are in that moment choosing to sacrifice our character development, for the convenience of something. Also, do we purchase something because we haven't addressed maybe a true issue that is involved? It could be laziness. It could be not wanting to spend, the time with our kids, or, there's a variety of things, or anger that comes up when we deal with something. And so are we just choosing a product that can be a temporary fix when actually there's some character stuff that we can work on? And I think they're hard things to figure out. I find it challenging because it's just very much against our culture who really praises, that convenience is the way for progress. That's the way for us to grow and mature and be adults and have a more sustainable and enjoyable life, is just more convenience. So I do find it challenging to figure that out, but I think it's relevant and I'd encourage us to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna hit off the first major one that I talk to a lot of my friends about. And I just think it's one of the biggest things that I chose to go without, that I think can be the most startling sometimes. So I think that many people can go without a monitor. I'm not just going to video monitor. I'm talking about any sort of monitor, sound monitor, anything. For us, we had Hadley when we were in a small 2-bedroom condo, and I could hear her crying from outside my door. I didn't have a problem with hearing. And so to that reason, we could say that it just simply was not necessary, that I didn't need it. But I also didn't go to the extent of wanting to have the video because I found that it was very addicting to watch this video and to constantly keep an eye and to always be monitoring them. And there's just not that many stories at that young age where that was able to prove all that beneficial or helpful. And so I just said, let it go. Just trust the Lord with our child. Let her sleep. And if I hear her, then I know that I need to be attentive to that. And I could be. Even though we use a crying out method, I could hear her and pay attention to her during those times where I was letting her cry it out. So we were able to go without a monitor. Still, we are now in a larger house where it takes a little bit more for us to hear Hadley, and will take more for us to hear Anastasia when she comes, but I still feel confident with not having a monitor. I personally did not think a monitor was necessary, and I have a couple other friends who also live a very free and comfortable life without a monitor as well, and so I know it's possible. And I enjoy it, actually, not having the monitor. I think it's a good thing. Next thing is bottles. A ton of bottles, more so. So we actually survived on 3 bottles. We did 3 bottles, we used formula, and I went to work. So basically, all 3 of those bottles were always being used. And I will admit, it was actually hard. And in my must-haves video, I admit that I'm getting 2 more bottles for Anastasia. But I will just tell you, we survived with only 3. And having 5 still seems minimal to a lot of people, but I liked not having a ton of different bottles. For the most part, like, you only use 3 or so in a day, and they're getting washed. So to avoid all the extra clutter, just stick to a couple of bottles. We also chose to go without all of the extra cleaning supplies. I didn't have a mat, I didn't have a little thing to put the bottles on. Like, we just made it work, and we didn't have a problem with it. In fact, I think we actually had a basket at one point that we were given, and we didn't even use it. Like, we just washed them, and they dried there in the rack that we had, or they were going in the dishwasher. So it was just extra accessories and stuff to fill up our space. I didn't experience any lack at all or inconvenience by washing them like I washed the rest of my dishes. So that would be my opinion on that. If you're looking to keep things simple, don't go for the extra bottles. Don't even buy the cleaning accessories. I would also say I went without any sort of baby making, that's funny. Any sort of baby food making accessories at all. I was not planning on making food like from home and not buying baby food, but I actually ended up going 100% without any baby food. And guys, that's not even me. Like, I'm not that kind of, that's not me. Like, I would choose to do that for convenience, and I don't have a problem with, you know, some of the baby foods and stuff, but I found it was so easy. Just one day I decided to boil carrots, and then I threw them in our large size blender, like a massive amount, took tiny little Ziploc bags, which are so cheap, and I just poured little small amounts into them. And I mean, in 15 minutes, I had 25 bags of carrots, froze half of them. She went through the other half, like, you know, in a week, and that was it. I was like, oh my gosh. So I made all these different things and just threw massive amounts into the blender and rolled with it. And it was so easy. I didn't need any products. It was just incredibly easy, and it kept my kitchen, it kept all the extra stuff that I needed to buy down to a minimum. So I would suggest that if you can try it, try to go without. See what it's like, just like throwing stuff into a blender and piecing them out into other little things rather than all the little baby products. We went without a Carseat Mirror, which I think is great. It just kind of helps you not to focus constantly on baby and be worried about her. And I will just be honest, almost all moms will say that over time of having multiple babies, you become less helicopter-like. And so by the second one, or for me right now, Hadley could cry in the back seat, and I'm like, nah, she's crying, okay. And it just shifts. So you can take that step when you're first having your child, not because you can naturally, emotionally not care, but you can take that step by not needing to constantly watch baby and always be observing every little thing. They're very safe in that car seat, very safe, and there's not that much that you could do, and stuff that would happen to them that we weren't able to figure out without the mirror. So I didn't even need a mirror. We didn't have a play mat, so I didn't buy an extra blanket or extra little toy thing. Like, she just found things to play with. She would go on the carpet. There were so many things that we could do with her where we didn't need to have an extra play mat for her that she would play with. Honestly, books. Lots of books. She liked them all. Multiple swings and bouncers. In my must-haves video, I shared that I had two. One that was used primarily in the living room, and then another one that we actually ended up having to get so that she could sleep, but it ended up being convenient for carrying around, but that was it. Like, that was it. And even now, we have plenty of space to have more, and I'm just not going to have it. Like, we didn't need it. And it just adds more bulk, more stuff, and more options for her to cater to her, and Hadley just did well with one. Now, I've heard of some parents saying that their child just did not like that one that they wanted. So I would say that's a good point to consider moving on to something else. For us, we just only needed the one, and we survived, guys. I'm like a happy parent, so like be encouraged by all this stuff. What else? We didn't do toys. I actually don't even think I bought like but one or two toys. We went on a road trip and I think I bought some things to dangle from her car seat, but we just didn't feel the need to do toys. We were able to find things and people gave us things. And so we had a couple, but we just didn't need them. When they're that little, they just don't need that much stuff to play with. And then as they're progressing, I found this one toy. I think I got it for her when she was 5 months old, and that was it. That was the thing that she would play with. And other than that, there was just stuff around the house, or she would move around, or books, and we just didn't do that much. And Hadley is super smart, and I don't think that she's done negatively without all that other stuff. Room decor. I was pretty passionate about this actually with Hadley, that recognizing we really care about our home and we have people over a lot. So we do invest a lot in decorating and home interior design and stuff for the main living, but no one was going to go in Hadley's room. And Hadley wasn't going to experience it at all because she was an infant. And so I really, really, really strongly simmered down the ideas of a nursery. And again, we also didn't have the funds, and we spent a lot of our time doing other things. We were part of church, and I was working, and so we just didn't feel like investing all that time and energy into a bedroom for an infant was necessary, and buying all the extra things and the decorations and to make it all, so. And I've been very excited to get to the point when she is old enough to care and pick things out. And I'd love for her to care about her room just as much as we care about our house. But it's just not necessary right now. So we saved a lot of money by not investing in a lot of the room decor and keeping it pretty simple. The last thing is these are things that I did have that I ultimately didn't use. So, one was the teething toys. Actually, guys, I'm wearing this necklace that is a teething toy. I've ended up just wearing it as a toy. As a necklace. And Hadley did not at all care about the teething toys. Now, I know they're convenient for some. The things that we did find useful were the frozen kind of teething toys. She did gnaw on those a bunch, but just having a whole bunch of them, really what happens is they go for a couple of bites, they move on, they'll pick up something else if you have multiples. We tried a cloth diaper. We made it for about 5 months. I didn't find it super inconvenient at all. At about 5 months, they started leaking, and I could not figure out how to fix it. I changed out different pads. I tried changing the size of them, and they just kept leaking. And it was when we had moved into this house and started remodeling, and so it was just a bad season. We ended up just dropping it completely. Ultimately, I'm not going to use them again, because we don't like laundry. And we just decided that we're not going to make an attempt at it again. So that's one, again, very, very personal from our experience. If you use cloth diapers, most people that will buy and invest in the expense of cloth diapers at first will stick with it. And I think that's great. I wish I was a cloth diaper, but I just am not there, guys. We also did not put a single pair of shoes on her until she was 9 months. Until she got to the point where I think she even was walking at 1 and I didn't put shoes on her. So shoes just weren't worth it for us. And hand mitts, I tried them once and I just didn't use them. So we didn't use either of those. I tried cloth wipes as well, even when we were cloth diapering, and just didn't use them. And we just used regular wipes. It was definitely much more convenient. And since our main motivation was not waste, then it made it easier for us just to use the regular ones. The last one is kind of surprising and it's probably personal. We didn't use a rocker. We have one, and Hadley just didn't care for the motion. So I would sit anywhere. I'd sit on the couch. I'd sit in a comfy chair. Like, I'd sit anywhere to nurse her. We didn't rock her to sleep at night. So just know that that can be hit or miss. And something that I would even say, like, careful again on if you're feeling the weight of the finances of having a new one. A lot of people that I know can immediately put this rocker on there as a major expense that they know you just have to have the rocker. And it's not true. Like, some people don't even use it. And I know it can be really great for a lot of women. But again, if you're looking to keep things simple and you don't have the money for it, you don't have to invest in the big, wonderful, great rocker. And that's it. That's my list of things that I didn't end up needing. I hope it was really helpful for you as you're making choices for what baby items to purchase. And if you have any comments, please share below. And of course, like, and subscribe to get more as I'm almost 10 weeks out from due date. And we know we're going to do a labor vlog. I've got tons of stuff planned in between then. And I hope that it encourages you in your pregnancy and in your faith. So yeah, look forward to catching up with you on here again. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.